Yo, peace, peace. This is Shalom Zoe bringing you a brand new flavor episode called Africa's Return Agenda. We do not own none of the copyrights or none of the videos or images or pictures that's being displayed today. This is just for knowledge purposes. Please pass it along.
Who said that? I told you the slave trade started with Native Americans being brought to England. That's what I said. I never said that. You know what I'm saying? The Africans that eventually were brought here, you know what I mean? They were brought here because they couldn't enslave us anymore. You understand? Why? Because you can't enslave a man in his own home. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you right now, all these inventions, they give credit to African Americans. Ain't no African gonna come to the Americas and tell you when to plant your stuff. It's a science you gotta study. It ain't the same over there as it is here. You got to know the land, right? So all these achievements that we ascribe to African Americans, these are achievements by Native Americans who had to take on the identity of being African American because they was hanging us. But you think they was hanging people because they was Africans. Africans just want to go home. Nigga from here want to take his shit over. That's a threat. You understand?
Yeah, I just had to take a quick break from the We Have Been Here videos to just touch on this Ghana situation real quick. I know everybody been seeing it. Everybody's tuning in to what's going on in Ghana. You got these bogus celebrities, you know, pledging, getting citizenships to these West African islands or West African countries, saying that this is the return home. The Africans over there even know that we're not the same people.
Your experience growing up as a person of African descent in France?
I was born here, so I'm not like I'm not feeling like I'm really African. I'm going in holidays over there. I'm not staying more than 2 or 3 months. So for me, I'm more French than African.
So you would identify as a Frenchman?
Yeah, to me, yes, because I know when I'm in France, a lot of people, because of my skin color, they think I'm, you know, like African style. But when I'm in Africa, they took me like a French guy. So
really?
They took me like a French guy. So they took me like a French guy. So
I mean, for one, they call us Akata. And if anybody that don't know what the slang Akata is the word that African use for North American Negroes. It means cotton picker. And that's the beauty of social media, is that whatever agenda that they try to paint for us with these other countries and these other land masses, we can always reach each other through social media, which would pretty much take the wool off of your eyes and you can see exactly who these people is and how they feel about you.
My brother was under the impression that you want to do some business. Maybe we can just have a seat, have a drink, maybe sit down, have a nice little diatribe, see if we can work this out.
Well, don't take this personally, Romelo. It won't work. You do your thing, I do my thing, you know? It won't work. We can't work with Akata.
Akata. What is this Akata shit? Like American?
Oh, shit. Cotton picker.
I don't know if anybody recall when there was a rumor going around about Beyonce wanting to play Sarah Barton, but the South African president said there's no way that Beyonce can even play an African person. She's better off playing a black indigenous American. And it blew everybody's mind for them to not even connect or try to connect with her so-called African side because she's African American supposedly. But that's what we all think. We all think we African. Haiti tried to get its independence from the African Union and got denied twice. But it is the year of return, and I'm thinking that the African Union just might let Haiti join this year for some reason.
What happened is the same thing that happened in Haiti. Now, for a lot of people to understand what happened in Haiti, when Haiti overthrew the French, all they did was step into the powers of position that the French held. They didn't go back to their indigenous culture or their indigenous way of life. So now what you have is you have a second world government being overthrown. When I say second world government, I'm saying the second government on any land is corporate government. The first government is indigenous, or the tribal government, which signs the charters and the deeds which allows the corporations to operate on your land. That's called the second world. The third world is somebody who's left out of the first and second world, meaning you're not a tribal government and you're not a corporate government. So when Haiti overthrew the corporate government that was instilled by France, and they didn't reinstate their indigenous government dealing with their clan mothers and their tribes and things of that nature, they fell into what you call a third world country. Now these third world countries don't have any allies because they're not aligned with the indigenous tribes and they're not aligned with the corporations because they just overthrew one. So now what happens, you have Haiti in the situation that it's in now.
It's an agenda. The agenda is to get you to spend your money and your investments and your gifts and your talents to build up Africa the way that we built up North America. That's the agenda. That's the only reason they would be calling for all of us to come over there now. And not to mention that it's thousands of them that's leaving Africa that's going to Europe. So you got to ask yourself, why is they leaving Africa? Everybody knows how special you are. I mean, we're the jewels of God. Without the North American Negro, you wouldn't have a light bulb. You wouldn't have a car. You wouldn't have a remote. You wouldn't have a computer. The internet. Like, everything revolves around us and our creation. Until you realize how special you are, American Negro. Until you realize how special, truly special you are, these people is going to continue to take advantage of us. I seen this one article, it was a Ghana, Return of Ghana article, I believe, and the ambassador was telling his citizens to quickly impregnate the American women. Quickly impregnate the American women, man. I'm telling you, they want to make a covenant with us now when it was back before. Nobody came back to help us, man. Nobody came back and said, oh, let's go get our brothers that so-called got sent to the Americas by the millions. If they was really our brothers, you think it would have took them until 2020 to come and make a return for us?
I don't know why they mad at us. If anybody should be mad, we should be mad at their ass. You know what I'm saying? I give white people props on this. When y'all have hostages, y'all go get them. I don't give a fuck if it's two. Technically, we've been hostages in this country for 450 years. Not one canoe with a nigga with a spear has shown up to pick us the fuck up.
Say what you want to say about the American Negro, man. We don't forget about our relatives, man. You got to ask yourself why they never came back, man. It ain't making no sense.
So, the history of African Americans in America does not necessarily work in their favor based on everything that was logged. As you see all the movies, 12 Years a Slave, it's a constant reminder that, hey, African Americans, this is your story in America. When I was in Nigeria, I did not know of the African American story until I got to America and found out.
That's true.
Right? I did not know anything about slavery. When not know anything about slavery. When not know anything about slavery.
Vienna Robinson is part of a black diaspora that's come back.
You are what we have been waiting for.
Even adopting African dress and names. This former New York travel agent now calls herself Sister Imakus Njinga. And she's helping other African Americans make the journey, giving advice on migration, organising tours, and staging reenactments to show what their ancestors suffered.
I did not know of the African American story until I got to America and found out.
That's true.
Right? I did not know anything about slavery.
Mothers, take your children.
in Africa, have you ever heard anything about the transatlantic slave trade when you was in Africa? Okay, did you hear about it when you came to America? Okay, so when you got to America, that's when you heard about it. But before America, you never heard about it. Okay.
Lies, 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 lies. Why do I hear lies?
Everybody going to Gory Island to see the door return because they think that slaves went through that door before they got sent on a choppy Atlantic Ocean to come to America. But the whole story is fictional. The castle was made in 1770. I'm telling you, the whole thing is a hoax, man. That castle and the whole theory about it being real was made for tour site to get you to come there to feel some type of connection with the land. It's all made up, man.
I know an awful lot of African Americans who come to Africa, are profoundly moved, but also realize how American they are when they're here. American they are when they're here. American they are when they're here. And, you know, recognize that they could never live here. You know, and that's part of the African American experience. You are, in some ways, you know, connected to this distant land, but on the other end, you're about as American as it gets. As American as it gets. As American as it gets. In some ways, African Americans are more fundamentally rooted in the American experience because they don't have a recent immigrant experience to draw on. It's that unique African American culture that has existed in North America for hundreds of years.
Just like some of the pyramids in Africa
was created to make Egypt a tour site, but
that's for another video, man.
We wanted to feel like we had come home. However, we later found that we weren't that welcome by the native population. We weren't welcome just because they don't know us, and we don't know them.
It takes just a short visit to the local market to see the gulf of 500 years of separation.
I don't want smoke, I want fresh.
Most locals don't even regard them as fellow blacks.
You have Groova, I want Groova.
They call them a bruni, meaning whites.
How much you gonna charge me? And don't charge me old Bruni prices. Beanie. If you charge me old Bruni, I don't buy. It is not a very pleasing way to be identified. You know, we don't want to be called O'Bruni because we certainly weren't treated like O'Bruni in the U.S. By any stretch of the imagination. We were treated as African people. So that is a challenge.
She's also found that people have little sympathy for them as descendants of slaves.
They don't know the history. They don't know who we are. They don't know that we are Abebu. They don't know that we are descendants of the Africans that were taken here through enslavement into the various Americas. They don't understand that for the most part.
I love it. I do have something funny to ask you. Are you African American or are you just American?
You're so funny.
I know, so
funny.
So bad.
I am 100% American Negro. So, yeah.
Correctness, African American. I'm not African.
Probably be going to Africa. I'll be doing work among your people. Not mine, my people in St. Louis.
And I got into this like 3-hour discussion with these girls from like Ethiopia who were just like, you're not African. She said, well, what are you? I said, African American. She said, no, you're not.
You have no idea how hard it is in the job hunt for an African American. You wouldn't know that because you're Caucasian.
You are not African. You're American.
African American human, that's all.
You are not African.
I am African American.
Stop saying that. There is no such thing.
I would like to appreciate everybody for tuning in to brand new Flava Africa Hidden Agenda. And I just wanted to say this is no shot to anybody from Africa or any Africa Aboriginals, man. We are cousins. I just want my American Negro family to know exactly who they come from. If you do your genealogy and you come from Africa, man, shouts out to you. But for the people that don't know and just following the wave, man, this video is for you and for your learning. I just want to say thank you for everybody that subscribed to my channel, who's been asking when's the next video. I'm working hard to keep the videos coming more consistently, man. I just want to say, man, thank y'all for tuning in, man. And remember, as always, peace and love.